Who's this pretty fellow?
Jesus! Right, hang on. Gotta...
You alright?
Yeah, your volume is super loud. Hang
Aw,
on.
glad I could help.
Right, I think you're about right. I don't know why. I mean, I know. I know why. It's because the Streamlad's updated, isn't it?
Yes, I was sitting here. I've been sitting here for like 4 minutes while it's gone and tried to download like 702 things. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, that's the. Oh, behave.
Big.
Behave. Oh,
Let it go. Let it go.
right. Oh, 1 second. Let me just get this.
Oh my god, what a day. What a day.
What a day. What a
So,
day indeed.
so I obviously called you about the whole situation. So for anybody that doesn't know, I called Jordan and let him know that, listen, can we record today? I'm going to be meeting Brett the Hitman Hart tomorrow and I'm going to be fangirling out. So I'm probably not going to be home for the podcast.
Which makes sense.
Can we do it today? I'm like, I've just got to drive an hour to pick up a part from my car because the glove box, little latch in the glove box that you just pull out, for some reason broke. No idea why. Can't fix it. And then when I went to talk to Kia, they went, oh, it's about $400, but you've got to buy the entire enclosure. I'm like, it's 2 screws, which I actually did with my Swiss Army knife and went and popped the whole thing out. And at the moment, it's tied with a piece of string and it has a mint, like a little mint shoved into it because for some reason, no matter how hard I tie it, it keeps loosening and the light inside comes on, which will kill my battery. So I've actually got a mint in there where the button is, tied it up as tight as humanly possible, and it keeps the light off. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to ask, but it works fine. So I drove an hour, and then obviously while I was on the phone to the Jordan, I'm like, oh shit, they're not open. So this is after I messaged a guy last night. He said he was open. I drove down there for an hour, found out that he's not actually open. And I was like, oh bro, I thought you said you were open today till 2. He's like, no, we are. I was like, this place is completely closed. And he's like, no, I've got a Saturday guy that comes in and opens for us and does that. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, the whole place is closed. And I sent him a photo on Messenger.
Yeah.
And he calls me and he's like, give me a sec, I'm going to call my guy. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, because I'm thinking maybe he's gone out for lunch. But then I'm like,
It could have been, yeah.
it's about 11 o'clock here. And I was like, it's just gone 11. I'm like, if he opened at 9, chances are he's probably not going to get lunch at 11 and he closes at 2. Or he'd put a sign up or something.
Yeah, something.
And the guy calls me back and just went, yeah, we're not going to be open today. I'm like, okay. Thinking, why not? What has happened is the Saturday night guy, he spoke to a few of his neighbours. The Saturday guy takes his paycheck, never opens on Saturday unless he knows there's orders. So what happens if his boss calls and goes, you've got a guy coming at 1 and 12, he'll be like, okay, so he goes there like just before the guy gets there at like 12.
Yeah, he goes there for 12 and he goes there for, and that's it. Oh,
and I'm like, oh my God. So the dude I just got a dude fired. Couldn't get my part. And he's like, we're only open at the moment 9 to 5. We're not opening Saturdays at the moment until I find a new guy. And I'm like, that's okay. Yeah. He goes, I can't get down there right now. Like, he goes, I'm like 2 hours away. He was on his way to Lake's Entrance or something. He goes, is there any chance he comes during the week? And I'm like, I kind of work from home Wednesday. I might be able to come Wednesday if I run it past my boss. And he goes, that's cool. So I'm getting the part for half price, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
But also I can put 2 bolts in there so that I don't drain my battery. So right now...
Which is also helpful.
Right now, Eclipse mints. Thanks for saving my car.
Eclipse mints. Mints coming in clutch.
I was going to say, this stream is sponsored by...
Eclipse. Oh, that's funny. Oh, God.
I actually have the pack here that's saving me. So Eclipse mint, peppermint.
I like the peppermint ones. I like those ones. Are they the soft ones or the hard ones?
No, these are the hard ones, because if it was the soft ones, it wouldn't hold my...
I tell you what, I can't have the soft ones because I literally will sit there and eat the entire packet.
Yeah, I find that with soft mints because they just taste like minties, and you're like, oh,
it's like, yum yum yum. Anyway.
Dorks Down Under.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dorks Down Under, the podcast where we discuss all things of dork and geekdom as things
As well
happen.
as soft mints.
As well as soft mints fixing cars. We are on season 3, episode 12. 12.
Is it
We're
12?
on episode 12. Yes, I've just uploaded 11. In fact, I need you to do thumbnails. There you go, I'm telling you.
Yes.
But yeah, apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Godzilla X Kong.
I haven't seen it, so I'm all excited to hear about it. And I'm not one of those people that they're like, "Oh, you ruined it for me." Unless it's something like The Sixth Sense, where it's like the dude's dead, where it's a big twist, which I don't think there is going to be in this movie.
There isn't a big twist in this. There's lots of little things, but. So for any of you who do not want spoilers, skip this episode.
Don't skip
or
it.
go see the movie.
Just save
one
it.
thing I am going to say is come back. Definitely go and watch it. And if you can go watch it at the cinema for the big visual spectacle that you get, it is fantastic. Okay. Highly recommend. Sort of thing. So obviously you can already tell that I'm scoring this high. This is pitching high.
So for Jordan scoring it high, it's probably only about a 6 or a 7. Give or take.
Yes. So, obviously, Godzilla X Kong, the new empire, follows on from the Godzilla versus Kong. No, yeah, Godzilla versus Kong. What was it? Yeah, was that? Yeah, it was Ghidorah. Yeah. That was where they fight Mecha Godzilla. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah, because King of the Monsters is where he fights Ghidorah, which was great. So basically, it obviously starts off, and you see a bit of Kong just. Because now Kong lives in the Hollow Earth, and basically he's exploring. Apparently, they've only mapped like 5% of it, sort of thing, so they don't know where everything is. But basically, you find out that Kong's searching to see if there's any other Kongs.
I'm just picturing him, and like they've only served 5%. And then it's just Kong kicking open this door. Welcome to NBT Cribs. This is my house, and it's just like this giant cave. Bananas. You're like.
Basically, so he has a hunting ground where he's hunting for food and stuff like that, and basically he's these big wolf things, and basically he ends up killing getting some of them for food and all this jazz. He ends up going back to his cave. He has a dog. It's not a dog; it's a lizard per se. It's rather big lizard, in fact. Is
it bigger than your most hated dragon in Damsel, or?
It's like so you obviously see Kong. It goes up to about his knee, sort of thing. But it's all fours. It's all fours, and his name is apparently Doug. Everyone loves Doug. Doug is the star of this show, and
Doug,
you only get to see him.
Doug is like, what is it? What was that one? The one from Aquaman.
Oh, the octopus.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, this Doug fulfills this role, but you only get to see Doug in this little first bit, and that's it. But he steals the show. Everyone loves him.
We want Doug.
We want Doug, absolutely. So basically, you find out that Kong rules Hollow Earth and keeps everyone in check down there. Godzilla is he rules the surface, and he's basically protecting mankind because some of the Titans who were awoken by Ghidorah, have started to go on mini rampages. They're wanting to basically take over, be king of the monsters.
It's weird though that he is he governs Hollow Earth, but then you've only discovered 5% of it. Does that mean that he hasn't even?
Basically, it's the way that they explain it in the intro thing, because it's like the monarch people explaining this situation. It's the same character. What was her name? I can't remember her name now. It was Eileen Andrews, who was the professor. She had the little kid that she was looking after.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's all that. So basically, she's like the spokesperson for Monarch now. But basically, she just explained it on a news article because people are talking. It's like a back and forth news chat thing, and so it skips to things like that. And basically, they said this is where you find out. Oh, we've only mapped 5%. We are discovering new plant species and forgotten things from the past, and hopefully we can find more and more and more, blah 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 blah, X, Y, and Z. It basically, you can immediately tell we're going to find something, because the basic plot and premises of this movie is that there is a Kong tribe down there, and They're evil.
But does Kong not know about them, or
No. He's searching because he feels like he can feel. He's trying to just find if there is any left, but he doesn't know about them. So
that's what I'm saying.
anyway,
So has he only discovered 5% as well, or is it just he governs over his little area, like
I
his
think
suburb?
they don't really go into that bit a lot, but it kind of feels like he has his hunting.
I'm
It's
picking
kind of
shit
like
out of it,
he has a he
like
has a
Jordan
cave.
does to all
He
of
has a
my
hunting
favorite
ground.
films.
Basically, he has a cave. He has his hunting ground, and he does. Basically, he goes on a wander. He's doing his own little exploration sort of thing, realistically. So he's probably explored more than the 5% as they note. But
So, all right, love, just gonna
Monarch
pop
could
down
probably
to the shops. He just puts his
yeah,
axe on and just wanders down.
pretty much. So yeah. So anyway, it's really good. I have to say, in terms of the movie, I am like, because obviously you had like when it was Godzilla versus Kong, it was very Godzilla orientated.
Yeah.
As of you saw a lot of Godzilla, like in comparison to Kong. Yeah, they had their bits, but it was mainly Godzilla, which is cool. This one is very Kong focused.
Oh, that's
Godzilla's
cool.
like sprinkled in throughout, which is quite good.
Well,
But
that's
basically,
good
you
though,
find
because it felt like it was the other way last time, where Kong was just
yes,
like a side
yeah,
character, and you're like,
absolutely. But basically, you end up. So you've got basically Eileen. You've got her Gia, who is the last of the Iwis from Skull Island. She's trying to adapt to the new human life. She lives in Hawaii. What a shame! What an absolute shame! And you find out that there's several. There's a new character we get introduced called Trapper. Basically, he's Ace Ventura.
oh my god,
he
that is amazing.
he's basically a vet that works on who works on he studies all the Titans and stuff like that, and he obviously helps work with
Oh,
Kong.
that's amazing. I just want him to have that walk.
Oh he doesn't have the walk, but he has the big bald Hawaiian shirt.
that's
Doesn't
cool.
take life seriously. It's kind of that guy, and he's played by Dan Stevens, and he's quite good actually. Dan Stevens. Oh, you know Dan Stevens. He's been in loads of things. Hang on, I'm going to pull it up now.
Oh yes. He's been in like
Yeah, Downtown Abbey, Beauty and the Beast, The Guest. Yeah, he's done tons of things. So yeah. Anyway, so basically, you find out as well that while Kong's trying to eat, you find out that he's got a bad tooth, and so. But basically, the premise of the initial start of the movie is: as long as Kong stays down in the Hollow Earth, and he doesn't Godzilla won't take it as a direct challenge, and therefore shit won't hit the fan. Okay, basically, Kong eventually comes up to the surface because he's hurt because his teeth are killing him, and basically they end up knocking his tooth out. Basically, they use this massive bit of equipment, and it's like a flying.
I'm just
ship.
picturing this wrecking ball just coming through and just going. Doof.
Yeah. So they end up pulling the tooth, and then they put a replacement in, which is like this carbide composite alloy thing. It's massive, and literally they talk about it, and it's like, oh yeah, that thing. Honestly, he could bite through skulls with that thing. It's so powerful. Anyway, so it sounds like obviously that they give little hints that they've been doing a lot of research with Kong, obviously. So that's rather interesting. So anyway, but basically he ends up going back to the Earth because basically there's these signals that have been going off from Hollow Earth.
Oh.
But they're getting distorted. The further away you are, the weaker they are, sort of thing. But Kong can recognize them, and they've realized that the Gia starts having some like weird visions, and she's like, Gia's the little girl, the Iwi girl from Thing.
Yes, I remember.
So they realize there's a thing. Basically, Eileen Andrews convinces Monarch, well, please let me take a small team. Let's go investigate, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. And then they go down, but basically Monarch realize that this same signal that's been going off and triggering things in Hollow Earth has been triggering the Titans on Thing. And they don't know what it is, sort of thing. Because basically the first thing you see Godzilla doing is he's putting the beat down on Scylla, the big spider crabby leg one, sort of thing. And she's terrorizing Rome. You find out that because there's a comic series based off on this current MonsterVerse, and you find out in the comics is that she's been although she bent the knee to Godzilla, she doesn't recognize him as the king. So she's been secretly going off and destroying nuclear facilities and trying to evolve and charge up to take on Godzilla. Yeah, as you do. And basically, so they're having a smackdown in the middle of Rome, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most of that place is already ruins anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, so basically Godzilla eventually kills her and blows her up and everything else, which is cool. And then he goes and takes a nap in the Colosseum, as you do.
I mean, while you're there, you may as well take in some of the scenery.
Basically, the theory is because at the end of the movie, after everything's happened, he goes back to the Colosseum and goes to sleep again. And everyone was like, why would he do that? Blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. And then someone brought up a good point saying, well, hang on, he hasn't got a home to go to anymore because we blew it up to get him all revived in King of the Monsters. So for him, the Colosseum, the architecture is probably very reminiscent of his home.
Holy Jesus,
so I think so. So I was like, I heard that theory and I was like, you know what? That kind of makes sense. I'm kind of on board with that. So anyway, basically, Kong goes back to Hollow Earth, and basically he discovers that there's a crack opening near his hunting grounds. Goes for an investigation, and suddenly we get introduced to Zuko, who is this mini primate Kong.
Naturally.
He's literally about a third the size of Godzilla, sort of thing. And basically you then realise that he's a devious little shit, and he's trying to kill Kong and all this jazz. And but there's other great apes there as well. There's like a gang of them. They're trying to obviously kill Kong or beat him up or do something. He just realizes that there's something going on.
Yeah.
and basically he deals with all the other great apes, and Zuko's last left. And then basically because there's no talking, there's no subtitles, there's there's not even sign or anything like that.
I kind of love that though, because I'm like,
which is really cool because you're kind of watching it and you're just watching everything. You're like, oh yes,
which I like, and I know people are probably going to shit on it and just be like, well, there wasn't enough human elements. I was like, but that's the problem with so many of these things, is we focus so much on the humans, we forget about the actual point of it.
Yeah, we're here for the giant 300-foot monsters. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Like, I guarantee, if you were like, oh, Jeff and his mates are in this, you're like, that's cool. I'm here because Godzilla's on the title. I want to see Godzilla.
Yeah, but so basically, there's he bullies Zuko. He's domineering over Zuko and basically says, "Take me to where you're from," which is And so Zuko's taking him, and of course he's taking him the long way around. Oh, just past several dangerous things that Zuko knows he can avoid, and stuff like that. And Kong deals with each one, and then basically is like, "Don't try that shit again."
I love that
each time. But Zuko starts warming up because obviously it's like fight or be food. And the fact is that Kong will share his food, and he's like, and obviously you can tell that he's like. Zuko's sort of wavering on the old front line. But basically, you end up getting to where he's from, and basically you get introduced to the big bad, which is the Scar King.
Is this the Ginger Ninja, as I'm calling him?
This is the Ginger Ninja, yes. So he's big. He is apparently, basically, you don't find out the full story until a little bit later on. But basically, it's... No, are we finding the story out at this point? No, I think we are. Yeah, no. So basically, the humans then find another big tribe of Iwi that never left Hollow Earth, and so they've got technology and all this jazz, and it's really cool. Blah blah blah. Who cares? But basically, this is where you get the story of. So basically, Scar and his tribe wanted to go up and take over the surface world. Godzilla came down, put a smackdown on them. And basically banish them to the Firelands, for lack of a better term.
Nice.
Cool. Happy about that. No problem at all. So I dealt with that. So Scar has been trying to wind up and get his power back so he can go and deal with Godzilla. Because all you see is these other great apes, and he's obviously dominated over all of them, and he's got his own personal tribe with their, and you can see they've got like blood, like handprints on them, so you can tell which ones are his original tribe and which ones aren't.
Yeah.
But one thing that's cool, one thing that's not explained, is that you see all these apes and they're mining.
Wait, what?
So, yeah, they're digging up stuff. It's like a quarry, it's like a pit. And fine, okay, all right, maybe they're making weapons. You don't see any weapons. You don't see, there's no explanation at all.
Oh, so you still, so even after all that, you don't get
Even
any.
after it, yeah, even after it, it's like there's no explanation of what they're digging for,
That's
which is the confusing thing.
that's
But
a bit
anyway,
weird.
basically, so Godzilla and Scar, not Godzilla and Scar, Kong and Scar basically Kong throws down a challenge, all this jazz, and honestly, he was doing well. And then obviously, you then get introduced to the other big bad.
So the ginger dude's
Who
not the big bad.
he is the big bad. He's the big bad. But the big bad has a pet, which is also a big bad, which is Shimu, which is basically Ice Godzilla, for lack of a better term. It caused one of the last ice ages and stuff like that. And basically, he's controlling her through pain. Basically, he's got one of. It looks like it's one of her quill spikes,
Yeah.
and somehow him having it and demanding and sort of he could cause it. It's like psionically linked or some shit like that. It's not explained, but it causes her pain, which is cool.
Okay.
So basically, she's doing it. She's doing it out of spite. She doesn't know what to do. Blah blah blah. Blah X Y and Z. So she starts fighting Kong. Kong gets busted up through his. He gets severe frostbite all up his arm.
Oh, so that's
and
why his arms is not doing great.
Yeah. So so obviously he gets away. Suko helps him get away, and all this jazz. And then they start following. He can hear the signal.
Yeah.
So they realize that because at first you think, oh, the signal's coming from Shumi or Shoan or whatever I just said the name was. So you figure, oh, she's trapped and maybe she's trying to help me. But it wasn't. It was the Iwi, because the Iwi know what Scar's up to and that he's getting ready to go on the march. They've been calling for help. And all this jazz. And basically, yeah. So you go through all this jazz, and it's cool. And at this point, Godzilla is, after he's done with Scylla, he then goes to France. He wakes up and goes to France because he's starting to hear the signal, and it's triggering him. And he's realised, I need to get stronger. So he goes to France and eats a secret nuclear power plant. It absorbs all the radiation, literally all of it, which starts souping him up. He then goes to this monster in the Arctic, who's Medusa. I think it's Medusa they call her. But basically, she's a massive sea serpent, and her nest is like a channel of solar radiation. So it acts like a battery.
Yeah.
So he ends up fighting her, kills her, goes into her nest and absorbs all her radiation, which then starts turning him pink. So you can just see he's getting juiced. Because it was like when he fought Ghidorah and he was super ramped up. He was like had that red crackling sort of thing going on. So it was kind of like that. It was really cool.
That's so
and then
weird.
basically they fix up Kong with his metal arm.
Yep.
With his because you find out that they had this project on the go and it got shut down by the government, and because they said the last thing we should be doing is trying to amplify a Titan.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
So basically they ship the prototype down, and basically they attach it to him, and because of course he's not doing well at all. So but they has this injector on it, and they inject him with some essentially I'm assuming it's nuclear radiation they inject him with, which suddenly pumps him up. It's like giving him a drip.
You've kind of got like Bane Godzilla.
Yeah, pretty much. Bane Kong.
Yeah.
Bane Kong. Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
So he comes back around. He's like, "Yes, all right, okay, cool. I'm good to go. Let's go." And then basically, what happens is he talks to Gia, and then Gia goes, and then they talk. So him and the kid talk. You find out there's an entire plot point where Gia is needed to wake up Mothra because there's a Mothra egg at this secret city sort of thing. Yeah, fine, okay, bit weird. So she goes off to wake up Mothra. Kong goes up to the surface and she's like, "What did you tell him?" She went, "He's gone to get help." So basically, he takes one of these secret portals, turns up at Cairo, and then does a challenge, does a shout, which obviously triggers Godzilla. Godzilla wakes up, goes on the warpath, jumps off Gibraltar Rock.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's cool, man. It looks
don't be wrong,
awesome.
it sounds ridiculous, but I kind of like it.
It is. And then he rocks up in Cairo, and Kong's like, right, dude, look, and he's he's pointing to the portal, but Godzilla's like, get off my land, and goes for him. And basically, they end up having this massive fight, and literally until Mothra shows up and goes, "Oi, you!" It's like Mum turns up and goes, "Right, kids, settle down."
What the hell?
And then suddenly Godzilla is like, kind of realizes that Kong's here to bring him down to say, "Come help me," and all this jazz. And then they turn back up Hollow Earth, and they have this badass running scene right between the two of them, where
Oh,
they
yeah, I think I saw that one where they're just like.
yeah, they literally shake it up. Yeah, it's really funny because then Scar turns up and he's found the city and he sees the portals, and so it's like then him and Shimu charge in, and so Godzilla and Kong are charging in. Kong jumps on Godzilla's back
This
because
sounds like absolute bloody mayhem.
this is the reason why I'm telling you, you need to see it in the cinema with a big thing. It's like, oh my god, it's awesome.
10 shades of insane.
Yeah, and it's just so good. And then literally they have this massive fight, and then Scar and Shimu, they basically gravity goes weird because we have a tech where they can affect the gravity of Hollow Earth for a minute. And yeah, again, strange.
We're
then
not here to judge. We're just here to enjoy.
Literally, as the effect wears off, Scar and Shimu go through the portal. Godzilla and Kong follow, but Kong's axe gets stuck in the rock on the way through. So his special Godzilla axe sort of thing.
I was gonna say, there's no other way to put that. It's like, oh, it's.
So he falls through, so they fall through the thing, and they turn up. I think it's Rio de Janeiro. They turn up at.
What the hell?
And then they're fighting in the city. Suko sees the axe stuck on the rock, so he jumps through and grabs the axe from the portal and goes and helps them out and all this jazz. And it's just, and then eventually, it basically ends the movie by Godzilla and Kong are able to destroy the whip thing that with the spike that controls Shimu, and basically then Shimu realizes she's not under control anymore, and they're fighting.
So she loses it.
They're fighting Scar, and basically Kong holds him up, and she shoots it and freezes him like practically to like solid, and then basically Kong smashes him down and goes full ape on him and breaks him into 1,000 pieces. It's so good.
It's so sick.
It is. I kid you not. It is such a good thing.
It's 10 shades of crazy, and I love the fact too that we're putting a little bit of human into it, but it did feel like it was just all about the bloody thingo.
Yeah. So then, it is, and then basically, so Godzilla goes back to, as I say, he goes back to the Coliseum, goes for a kip because he's used up all he gets rid of all that energy during the fight.
Yeah, obviously.
So he goes back to normal. Shimu basically becomes Kong's new pet, and they go back to where Scar's base is, where all the other Kongs are, and basically, the Kongs realize that Scar's gone because obviously he's got Shimu, and Shimu is there willingly and basically nudging him like a dog.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
So weird, it's so funny, but basically it is insane as a movie.
I want to know what happened to Doug. Does he just fuck off Doug?
Oh, we don't know. You never see Doug again, sort of thing. But we want Doug back. Everyone's like, the next movie, if we don't see Doug, we're gonna rebel against everything.
He's got this new dog, bloody Shimu or whatever, and you're like, bro, you just pissed off Doug just like that.
Absolutely, but basically they end up. So there isn't an end credit. Well, there isn't an end credit, but there is a little tiny tease. Because we know the next movie was called Godzilla Biohazard.
Oh,
which
was
is
it?
cool. So,
I think that's the next. We looked it up once, but it didn't have the new name.
Yeah, no, the next one's called Biohazard, which is fine, no problem at all. And literally, you hear this weird call randomly in the end credits, and it's like the theory is that we're getting I think it's called Violante or Biolante. It's like a plant-made monster. It's basically a plant-made titan. It's massive.
We're getting monster poison ivy.
Yes, pretty much. It's monster poison ivy. But basically there are lots of little Easter eggs that you do see in this. Like the fact is, obviously they were working on Titan tech. So, and someone said at one point in one of the murals, you can see Jet Jaguar, which is, this big robot that they made to help fight Titans.
Oh my god, you know what'd be cool is after Biohazard, all of a sudden they transition into, and it's like dun 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 dun.
Well, what the theory is that the theory is obviously for the full arc of all the movies that they've announced is they reckon the big bad, like the Thanos
Zordon.
level bad, is going to be Destroyer, which was a really now this is a throwback to the old Toei kaiju movies. Destroyer was one of the ones who could fight and kill Godzilla at one point and shit. But someone said, screw that, we want Space Godzilla, the one with the massive the ones with the massive...
I do like Godzilla, and I have watched them, or not all of them, but some of them, because Big J, one of my old housemates, used to love it. To the point where he had all the old ones. He had this, I'm pretty sure... Don't quote me on this, but he got made redundant from a job and got a bit of a payout, or he got like a massive tax or something. I just remember him getting a fair bit of money, and he literally went to EB Games, went to JB, and literally just bought the remaining Godzillas he didn't have, and then he ordered in a few and stuff. Like, he was obsessed, so I'd watch him. But I must say, watching like the 1930s and 1941s, I'm like, it was just a bit hard for me. I'm like, these are so bad.
Yeah, they are. Some of them are really bad. Yeah, some of them were really bad. But I do like some of them. But basically, so everyone reckons Destroyer is going to be the eventual big bad of it.
I was hoping it was going to be Zorton. That'd just be funnier. And then all of a sudden it's like Green Ranger comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden it's like we are.
Well, it's one of these things, because I remember playing back in the day, and this feels really old saying this now. There was a Godzilla game where you picked one of the kaiju, and basically you went through all the levels, and basically it was to do as much damage as possible while fighting another kaiju.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
it's like playing Tekken, but you got more points if you destroyed buildings. It was quite cool, sort of thing. I can't even remember the name of it, so I think it was.
It just reminds me of one of those things where you just like when you're just a kid and just being an arsehole and you just put your hand out and just walk. It's just walk normal, and you're like, okay. So you put your hands out and just drag everything off the thingo. That's what it feels like.
But yeah, so overall, movie was good. CGI is crisp.
I think he's going to say 90% of the movie you'd be CGI, unless you just randomly find.
Literally, the only problem I had at one point, and it wasn't while I was sat there watching the movie. It was kind of when I sat there and was thinking about what I'm going to talk about when we were doing this, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good point." It kind of felt like the scale was slightly off with Kong at times. But I don't know whether because the problem, like the fact is, like when you remember watching, Kong, the Kong movie where you first get introduced to this version of him.
He's bigger than mountains.
No, and he's like, and you find out that he's a juvenile and he's still growing. Fine, no problem at all. But that was all shot from human perspective, so you kind of think, Jesus, he's huge. But this is, I was wondering whether it's because we're looking at it from Kong down this time, and it's kind of, this perspective is kind of off. Because it kind of didn't seem big enough. But then again, we're also talking about that he's in Hollow Earth, and everything's huge as well.
It's 4 times the size.
Which is kind of, I think that was kind of I think my brain was struggling with, well, hang on, I've seen this guy stand next to a mountain and he's massive. Whereas down here it doesn't look quite right. But then it's kind of, all that jazz was kind of not gelling correctly.
You've also got to remember you also got to remember too, though, like that's not just your average blue-tongued lizard that walks into your backyard.
Yes,
Doug is a big boy all by itself.
But yeah, it was strange. Let's just put it that way. It was a bit of a
size, mate. Like, seriously, the dragon wasn't big enough in Damsel. Kong wasn't big enough in this. Like that, I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like, I feel like there's got to be something like, it's like, oh yeah, I watched Clifford the Big Red Dog. You didn't feel that big.
Honestly, I think that you are gonna, when you watch this, you'll go, oh, I know what he means. But
the problem is when you say shit like that and I rewatch it or I look at it again, I'm like, I guess I can kind of see it, but I felt like it was big enough when I watched it. Now he's just ruined it for me.
I'm not aiming to ruin it for you. It was just one of those weird little things that was in my head. I was literally watching it, and then afterwards, because I didn't notice it when I was watching it and enjoying it.
Yeah.
But it's when I was thinking back about it, I thought, it did look a bit small. And whether it was in comparison because he had Suko next to him as well.
I have that thought every day, but it's not about Kong.
But it's like, suddenly it's like, because obviously we've only ever seen one great ape, and he's been one great ape titan, and he's been this big. But then maybe it's because I've seen there's now a smaller one. I'm like, okay, so how big's he?
Because I thought the ginger one looked really small on the ads.
Oh,
Like in
what, the Ginger
trailers.
Ninja?
Yeah.
Scar's about the same size, but he's really like he's more orangutan like,
Yeah. Like,
and I
'cause
think his tribe. I think he was the only survivor of his original tribe because all the rest of them look
oh,
like Kong. Apart from there's the odd kid here and there who look like Suko does, which has these
like a
ginger
mixed breed
thing,
kind of thing. Yeah.
and so obviously you can tell that Scar is obviously. As primates do,
Yeah,
Scar's
but
getting his good times.
he's doing all right with the ladies, shall we say?
By force, but that works. But anyway, but yeah, so it was kind of just one of those sort of, but yeah, it is just interesting, and it was interesting to see a bit. Actually, all the other great apes, you could tell they had a bit of character about them because this is the benefit of obviously all the Planet of the Apes movies, the ones that
I
we've
must say,
recently.
Planet of the Apes has changed like big bads and things
Yeah.
like that for the thing. Just the amount of emotion you can put into them now, and hand
Yeah.
up to Andy Serkis, like
Absolutely.
you really are our precious.
And absolutely agree with it because you're able to sort of like you look at all the like some of the apes have got less hair, some of them are a bit more thin. You can tell there's characters that have been built into that. They didn't just go right copy and paste Kong a few times. They actually went no, we need to make Scars here. Do that? They actually added details and characters. And It's quite good actually. It's quite cool the way that they've done it.
Little things like that are going to set some of this stuff apart, and I think that's what the beauty of things like this is they've realized that, like, obviously back in the day you could just copy and paste 30 of them or just have the same 6 people every time, or like the old cartoons where they're running and they've just used the same background just looping around. Well, now they've realized, whole crap, we've actually got to put some work into it. And it's
well, to be fair, it's because there are people like us who do podcast or this chat, and they will go to the.
You're all a bunch of arseholes, podcasters.
I know, but it's like one of these. People will go to the cinema and then they will watch it. They will watch if there's a movie they really enjoy. It's like God, look at a Marvel movie. Most people, like when Infinity War came out, people went like 3 or 4 times. To see that because they were like, "Oh my god, I missed that! How did I miss that?" It's because obviously the first time you're like, just watching.
So some of them, like I do understand some of it, but I'm just like, man, like sometimes I have a habit of I like going to see movies and I like enjoying them. I try not to pick the shit out of them, which is why it's kind of nice to do this podcast because it does make me look at things a little bit, but overall, I still just enjoy the movie for what it is. And sometimes there are some plot holes, sometimes there are some things, but it's a nice escape and it's fun. That being said, next time you're down, we're going to try this. Is beef jerky. It might be backwards, and it's actually referred to as the Gringo Killer.
The Gringo Killer.
Because it's a South American style thing. I just found it I just saw it and I'm like, I've got to tell him about this. It has some, so it's made locally in Geelong. I was there when I went to visit Megs and Body on the last weekend. Well, not last weekend, on Friday, and then last weekend I was in a bad place. But it actually has some, Reaper chili in there. And I must say, it's the first thing I've ever eaten that has actually given me hiccups. You know when sometimes things are hot and it gives you hiccups? It didn't feel super, super hot, but it had some good flavour, but it was quite, like, you did notice it, but it was the first time I've ever got hiccups. So, no, man, it sounds like it's good, and I'm like, and this week coming up too is a massive one. Like, we've got Fallout coming out, which I'm hanging to watch.
Oh, yeah,
I can't wait.
I am at a crossroad because I don't know if it's are they doing it as a weekly release?
No. Well, I mean, I don't know, but the sites, like, weird. I've got Prime, so I'm going to watch it on Prime because if I've got it, I will. But they have released all of them on certain websites that are 100% legal.
Of course, yes, absolutely. So, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's fine. Yeah,
but so they have seemed to release all of them. So I'm like, I do think they're just gone. Screw it. Let's just go a bit nuts.
Well, if that is available, I will be watching that very much so.
But I've got a chaotic week, so I've got Fallout to watch. Hopefully for next week's episode. Tomorrow I get to meet Brett the Hitman Hart, and I get to fangirl like the 12-year-old that I am. Which I won't lie, I'm well excited. I almost went 30 years ago, but it was in Sydney, and I was like, there's no way we had the money to fly up there. But I'm like, I had some savings. I think I've been working about a year at this stage.
Okay.
Totally illegally, but been washing dishes for a year. And I was like, I could actually afford to fly up there and go and then fly home that day, but nobody else could come with me. And that's probably not good for a 12, 13-year-old, but hey. So I'm so excited to go, and I'm like fangirling. And then one of my mates had a ticket to go see him talk, so I'm like, well, I guess I better. It'd be rude not to. Then we have obviously Magic pre-release this week, and I've got the media event Wednesday, which is the
God,
Cowboy
you are
one,
busy. Yeah.
which is kind of funny because it kind of reminds me of that really horrible song by Beyonce. That overrated, horrible song by Beyonce that drives me nuts.
This ain't Texas.
You know what's funny though? It's like, this ain't Texas, woo! And then it's like, and then she talks about Lexus, and I'm like, I don't know many country people that have a Lexus. Like, I feel like, and then she mentions like tornadoes and stuff. I'm like, that's not something to be excited about in a cheery song. And I'm like, tornado's gonna hit the town, yeah. I'm like, no. But I feel like she's literally just gone, let's grab some country things and let's grab some things that I know a little bit about and try to put them together to make this country album that...
I actually don't mind it. I actually have no problem with that. But yeah, no, I've just checked. Fallout is available on my totally legal website to watch, so I'll try and watch some of that. But we're also
Prime.
No, we don't have Prime.
Do you have Amazon in New Zealand?
You can get things from Amazon to deliver to New Zealand, but there's sometimes the delivery charge is just shocking.
Oh, okay.
Sort of thing. So it's like most people don't use it. So I mean, I find it. I do use Amazon occasionally. Like if I'm going to buy something for my niece and nephews or in England and stuff like that, and I want to, or I've got, there's a special birthday gift or an anniversary or something. It's like, yep, it's easy enough to do from Amazon.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And yeah, so we crack on that way. But yeah. I know that Amazon are trying to get into the New Zealand market though, and now that we've got Costco here and IKEA's coming here as well, I think it's only a matter of time that we're going to get Amazon. And once we got Amazon, I will consider having Prime, because if I can then start having a hub, and then if they build a hub in Auckland per se, and then I can start getting cheap shipping. Great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. So with Prime, you get so if you've got any streamer friends, Prime gives you a free sub. Which for me, I'm like, well, I've got friends that I already sub to, so it gives me one free one, so it saves me money. You obviously get Prime, which Cherish sometimes watches, and I sometimes watch. I don't watch it as much, but sometimes certain shows I'll watch, like Reacher and Top Gear or whatever it's called now, the Grand Tour and stuff, and Fallout, obviously. And it gives me cheap delivery. But at one point then, I was getting stuff from Amazon like probably every maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And at the time, it was $6.99 for a Prime membership. And if you got something the weirdest, this is what I don't understand. It was $6.99. The Twitch sub at the time was $7.99, and you got a free one. Most of the delivery charges were $10.
Yeah.
And also it would take 2 days, but you get it next day if you were a Prime member, or if it was over $50, you'd get it the same day for some items. And I'm like, plus you'd get this streaming service, plus you also got a music service at one point there. And I'm like, I have no idea. And then recently they've put it up to $9.99. And just before that happened, I rang the guy, I messaged the dude on Thingo, and I'm like, random question, if I buy a yearly pass at $6.99 a month, plus the discount that you've given me, when it goes up, do I all of a sudden get hit with the additional one? He's like, no. He goes, if you buy it now, the price for a yearly ticket is this, and which is the total price of $6.99 x this. So if you buy it, it starts from there and then it goes for a year. And I'm like,
yeah. So you're not going to get so you're not paying for the hit until a year later, which makes sense.
I'm like, that's kind of cool. He's like, I've told a few people to do this because you get like 11 months for free. But yeah, I just find it so handy. Like when my car broke and the boot, and I had to get the gas struts, I could have got them I think it was like $3 or $4 cheaper from eBay, and then there was a store nearby that I could have got them for about $10 more expensive. But I got them from Prime. They rocked up next day, and I had them installed within a day. Little fittings and stuff. Like a couple of them, I lost the fitting for one of my cameras, and I just got it next day. Like, I find it so handy for so many things, and especially if you buy something from there once a month, or if you've got a Twitch subscription, it's amazing. But yeah, I reckon we try to. I'm going to try to watch Fallout, or at least do a Jordan where I watch like 2 episodes and then I have a whole opinion on it. Fucking Jordan.
Oh, you're so mean to me today. God, you have a week off.
Oh man, I'm fired
you become
up.
a right bitch.
Yeah, no, tell me about it. Yes, yeah. So we do apologise for last week. I went to visit some friends over in Geelong on the Friday and the Saturday, and I was due to come back on the Sunday. What was weird though is I was driving, the other girls were drinking. They got absolutely shit-faced to the point when Saturday morning when I was feeling like death, so did they, but I hadn't had a single drink. And then I got hit with a 2-day migraine that just made me feel like Christmas. It was bad. And then I wake and I roll over and I'm like, I need a pee. And I'm like, and I don't want to get out of bed. And as soon as I open the door, the light streams in. I'm like, I hate the world. And then next thing I know is I'm like, I pick up my phone and look at it. And I'm like, and Jordan's messaged me like 17 times. I'm like, I probably should.
The only reason I did that is because obviously, occasionally I send you a message and you don't respond for like maybe a night or something. Because obviously you have a life beyond me. I understand this.
Not really. To be fair, this is the highlight of my life. I'm here to spend it with you guys.
And it's like, so normally you're pretty good, and sometimes there's a couple of hours of stuff. But when I realized, I think I sent you a message late at night, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up next day and realized, I'll send you.
Yeah.
Well,
because
what time?
normally sometimes you message me on the Saturday night while you're drunk or something, and then even if I'm asleep, which most of the time I'm not, I'll get back to you straight away in the morning. But like, I was not in a good headspace.
Yeah, and then I sent you the message, and then I didn't hear anything. I thought, you could be having a lion.
Yeah.
Might be somewhere else. You never know.
And then it didn't even come up as red, and I'm like, okay.
And then that's when I realized after a couple more hours, I was like, he hasn't actually received it. Well, he's received it, but he hasn't opened it yet. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought, all right, brother, and then I said to her, it's a bit weird. Des hasn't responded. And she was like, what do you mean he hasn't responded? I said, well, I sent him a message last night. He didn't see that, and then I've sent him several this morning, and he still hasn't responded. And she's like, have you tried calling him? I said, well, I will if I don't hear a response by, I think it was like lunchtime or something.
I was not in a good way. My migraines have been they haven't been too bad lately, and over time they've started to get better with changing a few things. But I don't know what it was. I don't know if there was something in the food, something in the clean Geelong area, or something. But it
could be that. That's most likely what it is. The fact is, you went and had some clean, fresh air for a change.
No, it just destroyed my lungs.
Throwing everything out of whack.
I was like, later, boys. I'm like, no.
Right.
It was bad, but we did miss a week, and I do apologise, guys. That's 100%.
You don't have to apologise, brother. You don't have to apologise, brother. It was fine.
So that just means that you need to watch this episode twice to make or last episode twice, and this episode twice, just to make us all feel better.
That's fine. That'll be great. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. So in terms of scoring, because I realised I didn't actually score it, I'm actually giving this a solid 9. Absolutely a solid 9.
Damn,
it is really good. Absolutely. Highly recommend everyone go watch it. Please watch it. Either go watch it on the big screen at the cinema, or if you've got a massive TV and you can find a good HD copy, watch it there. But it is good. Man. So anyway,
I really want to. It's just.
As well, we're off to see Kung Fu Panda tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
I just downloaded that. I mean,
You've been to see it. You're going to see it. Yes.
That's what I mean.
Anyway.
So
God knows what we'll talk about next week. I'm actually traveling next week for work, so I'm kind of going to get back and hopefully have my senses all tied in with me. It'll be good. But anyway,
makes sense.
much love, people. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Episode 11, season 3. Please check out all the rest of them. Please make sure you like, share, and follow and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. Thank you very much.
All the stuff the cool kids do.
Yes, you can find us at Dorks Down Under on all social medias and on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you very much.
Laters.
Goodbye.
Peace.